So recently, we've been adding layers to our game. And not just tile map layers, but whole map levels to the world. And this allows us to do all sorts of cool things. But it also creates some challenges. And you may be able to see this one here. This is part of the world that is supposed to be lower, but instead it looks like a line of rocks on the same level. But that's no big deal. Let's just modulate the ground. And we'll modulate the stalagmites, which seems like it's working all right. That just leaves the walls and yeah, that doesn't work so well. What we really need is a way to gradually darken the walls from the top down. And this is actually quite the difficult problem, at least when you get into the thick of it. Now, we could simply make another version of the cave walls which has the gradation. And that works for one layer, but what happens when you want to go deeper? And should the player and enemies get darker as they pass further down? That's a lot of extra tile sets to manage, and it turns into a big mess. But surely there are other games that do this, right? Stardew Valley must have solved this problem. So, if we look at the cliffs and the rest of the overworld, we just need to find a spot where the player can look down to the north. And you know, I just can't find one. It's like if you're going south.
I always like going south. Somehow it feels like going down here.
I wonder if Tolkien drew his maps the same way. Well, I guess we now know how ConcernedApe must have solved this. The best solution is prevention. Unless we're stubborn, I think we can actually do this with a shader. So the first step is adding the gradation. And that's great, but what happens if you apply it to a tile map? Now, this first problem is a little different than what we ran into with our water shader. We need to shade in rows, and that's where this bit of code helps us out. We fraction the UV components times as many rows as we want. Then we replace the normal UV with the grid version. We also have other controls for shade color, intensity, position, and range across the sprite. We can even fade the color to nothing if the cliff is miles in the sky. Then it's just a matter of adjusting the values back to normal when you get back down to the lower level. We use a script similar to the one that allows us to enter the caves in the first place. And this is it in action. You can see the darkness gradually adjusting as the player enters the space. And that wraps up another devlog for Ode Generations Aiden, a top-down pixel art RPG that's based off my wife's book series. The closer we get to completing the features in our level design, the more excited I am to really start building out the world in this game. If you found this shader useful, let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to support the channel and see more content like this. See you later.